Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching the Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. And before we get into our guest, I'm going to head over. Drew, I see you there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Hi, everybody. I'm Drew. I'm just sipping my water, waiting for Leo to do his routine like he does every Tuesday, because you're here. Splash Pages. Hi, I'm Drew. Next week.
So what you don't see is I see all the screens on the bottom, and Drew's mocking me there. So I figured hop on over to him. Jar Jar, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Tuesday night, we got a great guest, and I'm pretty jiving about it.
Yeah, it's got a button-down shirt, too.
Oh, sorry. I'll take it off. Oh, no, I can't take it off. It's all I'm wearing.
Nope. That's a Christmas day.
Carrie, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Got me, got Ratatosker, got Hinata. We're just sitting around. You hear the purring. She's having a good night. She's happy.
Nice.
So, awesome.
She's excited about our guest.
Oh, very. Same here. So tonight, if you are a fan of Terrificon, you've definitely met our guest before. He is the dynamic voice behind Word Balloon, the podcast. He's interviewed groundbreaking writers, visionary artists in the comic book industry. Welcome, John Siuntres. How's it going?
Hey, man. Hey, everybody. Man, great intro. Wow. Very impressed. You put me to shame. But I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. Thank you.
Thank you.
All that work to get your name down, and he still screwed it up.
I know.
Siuntres, but it's all right, man. Don't sweat it. I'm not sweated. It's all good. As I told you off the air, it took Brian Bendis more than 10 years to get my name right. So
oh, man.
Stay in your lane, Leo. You work the keyboard. Leave the talking to us. Right. So everybody, if you've seen a panel the last couple of years, John is probably the guy wrangling the talent, getting the focus. Okay. He does a great job. He knows his stuff. So everybody stop challenging him. Okay. Because that's just some Thanos death. Okay. He will snap his fingers and lay you out. Okay. I'm sorry, Leo. I wanted to add on to that.
I mean, you hit on something there, Drew,
Yeah.
You're a podcast host, but you're a huge comic book fan, and that's what I love about your panels at Terrificon is your stuff. We've seen panels where people are fumbling around and they didn't really do their research on the guests, but
flashcards.
You got your shit down. Like it's
awesome. Thanks, man. Well, I have a Rain Man sort of memory. I'm sure I'm on the spectrum to some degree with the things that I remember. But I've been a lifelong fan of comics. I don't know about, and you'll forgive me, guys, because I know I'm a bit older, but I don't know about the generations under me. But you have that period in your 20s when you can't afford anything. So I kind of checked out for a little while then. And that was kind of the beginning of the Image years. And then actually, we'll get into it when we talk about the storyline, that we'll talk about it tonight. But it was Alex Ross and his beautiful art that perked my interest. I remember walking by a comic book store and seeing these iconic images from Marvel's, and that certainly got my interest. And then Kingdom Come afterwards. And it's like, man, I miss comics. And, in the late 90s, I kind of came back and I never looked back. And thankfully, was there for the beginnings of Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka and Brian Bendis and Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue DeConnick and Gail Simone and wonderful creators, and it's been great.
I'm so jealous of people with your kind of brain. You, Drew, you guys take everything in and it gets trapped there. I take it in and it goes right out the door. I'm like, God,
no, whoa. He John, Jeremy is very modest. He like Leo stays in his lane with his because if we mentioned He-Man, this man is like,
oh well, that
I have the power, and he actually
excellent.
But he did actually buy the sword at the con. So that
wow,
exaggeration. He actually showed up, and the first thought I
was
said
a
is,
gift.
well, no, the first thing I thought was the same thing that my partner thought when I brought a sword from the Ren Fair. He said, "Who let you buy a sword?" And I was like, I'm a grown-ass adult. If I decide I need to fight dragons, I got to have a weapon.
Right?
Right?
Dude, I'm telling you, I'd be dope in a zombie apocalypse. No guns necessary. Also,
well, yeah. So So and I agree with what Leo said, is that sometimes there's nothing more frustrating than you can see somebody who literally just came up with this plan for a panel 20 minutes before things started. Like, there's nothing more frustrating because you literally sit there and think, I could do a better job, you know? And that's just a lot of animosity while someone else is doing this thing. You're just like, I'm gonna sip this nerd tea and watch you fuck up, you idiot.
Well, I mean, again, I get it. I mean, listen, and it's funny because I have friends that are planning a show in Orlando in January, and it's like the least you can do for the ticket is provide interesting panels.
Right.
And I'm not, and especially if you watch things like Saturday Night Live and stuff, and they do the opening monologue, you got the audience, and woo, and it's like, woo's not a laugh. Woo is, hey, I'm here, look, it's me. And it's like, what use is that? And so I'm not I don't rally other than the beginning and the end for applause. I'm like, okay, let's all sit down and have a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what I want from a panel. So that's what I try to do.
It's funny you say that because we recorded a lot of the very good but few panels this year because there weren't as many as usually because of the writer's strike. And Leo had a clip. It was during the Claremont panel with Louis Simonson, and you had brought up Krakoa, and Chris's reaction is still cracking me up. You're like, yeah, whatever happened to Krakoa? It's like, don't even get me started. And I was just like, oh no. Because as you know, Chris Claremont is very wordy. You've read his work in person. He's that guy who's like, all right, let me tell you a story. And it's like the SpongeBob meme, 3 hours later. And that is why Cyclops ended up where he did. And I'm just like, that was fantastic. But what?
My whole day's gone.
Exactly. Like, and then he's like, days being passed brings up, I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be here forever. Like, thank God I have 3 days. Like,
it kind of was in search, the 3 people in search of an exit. Although 2 of us, me and Wheezy, Chris, you couldn't stop him, and it was so funny because Mitch wanted to give him the plaque too and everything. And I've had great conversations with Chris, and I've had Chris, just kind of take over and stuff. So I was prepared for either. And it's like, all right, just get out of the way, let the man speak. Because again, they come for them. I'm the train conductor. That's all.
Well, speaking of great conversations, now your podcast, you're over 1,000 episodes right now.
Yes, sir.
Wow,
that's awesome.
18 years.
Wow.
And really since COVID, I've amped up the episodes because during COVID, I mean, we all went through this. We were all stuck, and it was boring, and we were all depressed. And I'm like, all right, well, and that's really when I started doing more consecutive video rather than just audio and stuff. Oh, thanks, Henry. That's very kind. So yeah, that's I like doing this. I got downsized in broadcasting during COVID and decided, all right, let me try and do Word Balloon full time. And it's going okay. I mean, you can always make more money and stuff, but from a content standpoint, I have nothing to complain about. I mean, it's been amazing.
Whoa. You make money, Leo. We need to talk about budget.
I don't make a lot of money.
you make some money, Leo. We need to talk after the show. Okay. I got one word for you: allowance.
Right now, we have more money going out than what's coming in, but we're having fun at it.
Yeah.
Well, that's guys, as you know, I didn't get into this to make money. When I started Word Balloon in 2005, my thought was, I'm in broadcasting. I wasn't hosting at the time. I would occasionally do reporting in a sports talk capacity. And I'm like, well, maybe I can generate some interview tape, and maybe that will lead me to the next broadcasting job. And it was always just on the side, but it slowly grew audience-wise and thankfully reputation-wise, and I was able to get more guests on. And, eventually I'm like, all right, well, I've got a big enough audience, and I started going after advertisers. But it's tough. I mean, it's hard. I'm not name your favorite comedian who hosts a podcast. I'm not name your favorite celebrity. Joe Schmo. I mean, that's okay, because to me, it's, again, I'm the conductor. I'm like, no, you're here. You're here to watch Matt Fraction talk about the new Godzilla TV show. You're here to listen. This afternoon I talked to Ron V, who's killing it at DC and his creator-owned books. I mean, one of my favorite new writers of the last just couple years.
Yeah. So Leo, do we keep answering, or do you want to get the news done so that we can just talk about the book? Because we did read a lot of it, so I feel like we have to give it more than 30 minutes.
Totally. But I just wanted to ask, with your 18 years, I know you can't pick your favorite interview, but what are some of your more memorable moments during that time?
Well, I mean, again, I'm happy to welcome people back. So the many conversations I've had over the years with Kelly Sue DeConnick, Gail Simone, Brian Bendis, Greg Rucka, Ed Brubaker. Brubaker's coming back with the new graphic novel in a couple weeks. I mean, it's those people. God, I'm so glad I got a chance to talk to Gene Colan before he passed away, and he was lovely to me. And here's a true story, and maybe this has happened to you guys as well. But we do this amazing talk, and this is 2005, and it didn't record. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
It's the worst.
That's happened to me.
Happened to me. I was part of a podcast where we were known for having just horrible moments like that.
So hat in hand, I'm like, Gene, I hate to ask. I called him back the next day.
Can we do that again?
Can we do it again? And he was such a mensch. He's just like, oh yeah, no problem. He goes, you kind of remind me of Bob Costas. I like talking to you. So, that's so great. I saw Brad mention my dear friend Marty Pasco, who I really got to know well, and still breaks my heart that he's not with us anymore. He wasn't that old when he passed away. And I just that and man, I'll tell you, good Lord, much like Chris Claremont, get Marty Pasco start talking. And it's like, Marty, I don't know how to break it to you, but we've been talking for 3 hours. Oh my God, are you serious? And it's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, Marty, it was all gold. Because Marty referred to himself as the Boswell of DC Comics, the historian. And he really was. I mean, he was paying attention. And I know Paul Levitz would lean on Marty, how did it go? What happened that time? And Marty was the keeper of the info. Right. Now it's Kupperberg. I saw in your montage of guests, Paul Kupperberg is that guy. And thank God. And I've been leaning on Paul to tell, great stories and stuff. So, I mean, definitely Pasco's a highlight. I'm glad at Terrificon I finally got, after many years of teasing, an hour with Steranko. That meant a lot. That was a big relief. He was one of my white whales. So, those are good examples. And like I said, I mean, good Lord, Fraction and Kelly Sue DeConnick are like my little brother and sister. And I got to meet them really, really early in the Word Balloon world, like 2006. Wow. And, they're just, all the creators, like the fans, we're all fans. And I mean, they're very approachable. They're good. Most of my guests are very, very good people. And they love the hobby just as much as we do.
And it's actually funny because I do a lot of the reaching out to guests to try to get on the show. And every once in a while, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to ask. Like, what's the worst I can say? No. And then people get back to me, and I'm just like they're like, oh yeah, no, we'll come on the show. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? You come and what? I'm sorry. I think I blacked out. I'm rebooted. What did you say? It like you said, never gets old. And I think it's also funny because again, fans, like we've read, like I've been a fan of Tony for years, and we're gonna finally get him on the show. And then all these other people, and I'm like, oh my God, I've met so many people. And then now I'm like, oh, they're on the show. They're like, you're not exactly an equal, but like it's almost like you're more than a fan, And I'm just like, God, this is rad as hell. Like,
well, they recognize that. Thank God, the democratization of digital and the apps that are on computers. My background, Chicago broadcasting, 30 years, 5 years before that, downstate Illinois.
Oh no!
My thought coming out of I'm based in Chicago. My thought coming out of college was, well, if I can save a couple $1,000s, I can build a home studio. And thank God, with the way apps on computers have evolved, You don't need that much money. And I had my broadcast background and stuff. But the creators really appreciate the blogosphere, all the news websites and podcasting. And it wasn't a hard sell in 2005 to say, hey, I have this radio background. Please, let's do this interview. And it was a novelty back in 2005. Now I know there's hundreds of thousands of podcasts and everything. But, if you do your homework and you show that you can handle a decent conversation, they appreciate it because it gives them more than that little blurb in, if anyone reads previews anymore. I mean, it's an opportunity to really sit down with somebody and tell them about their book and their influences as well and what makes those ideas percolate.
And everyone, you're watching Splash Pages where things like that actually happen.
If you have Jar Jar with you, you get to learn about really odd occurrences that happened at some point in their life when they were out shopping on Craigslist and ran into celebrities and things like this.
He is like a bloodhound with the weird stories. Like, he's good. And they're like, oh my God, you know this? That's so cool. And we're just like, smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
I was going to ask you, like, what do you, for interviewing, I watch tons of other interviews before I will sit down with a person. And that's where mainly I find this stuff out. Like, and then I'll be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I learned about your fetish with number 2 pencils. I forget who had that, but there was somebody that had some crazy thing going on with number 2 pencils. And they seemed so shocked by it. And I'm like, no, really, you said it.
Right.
But what do you use? Is it just like, these people, so like, bam, all that you've read about them,
you get to know them after a while. And I'm cool with reading interviews. I don't know why. I guess it's a broadcast tick where I do try to avoid other podcasts and vidcasts that do interviews because I think I would subconsciously be like, oh, I saw you on Splash Pages and you said XYZ. Not that I wouldn't want to promote what you guys do,
right?
But I just feel like it's in my case. Sometimes it's the way that I speak. It becomes it's the Chris Farley show. Remember, you did that thing, and that was really cool. And I just have less security in myself to frame it in. I heard, or Johnny Carson, somebody backstage told me you do whatever, and it's just, I don't know, so I guess and also I let the conversation happen. I give you guys credit because I really worry about a multi-host setting where Leo's going to ask and go, well, how'd you start writing comics? And the guest says, well, I was in jail for 10 years because of manslaughter. And while I was there, I decided to start a writing class, and I did, whatever. And then, no disrespect when I say this, but then you go to Jar Jar and it's like, so what's your favorite color? And it's like, no, wait a minute. We got to talk about the manslaughter thing. Hold on. I don't want to drop that. So I would worry being in a group situation. And it's something that I've noticed on some of my friends who started podcasting when I did. And when they would do interviews, and it's like, all right, note to self, always be listening. Always be listening. Do not let an errant thing go by. So, but that's great, man, that you do that, Jar Jar. I think that's great.
Oh, he writes this stuff down, John. He has a notepad.
Yeah, I have a little notepad that I ask questions off of.
Yeah.
I'm old school. I write everything down.
No, that's smart. And I did it when I was in sports. I guess because, I read this stuff, and again, the weird memory that I have, I'm like, all right, I like winging it. And I just am comfortable having done broadcasting for so long that it's like, let's just have a conversation. And if I miss something, I miss something. God, I was talking about to Ron today, and I totally, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know about his food comic that he does for Boom. And right now, I can't remember if it's Real Flavors. I can't remember the title of it right now. I have no idea. I'm like, oh, tell me about that. That's great. Larry King was one of my interview models. Jon Stewart's certainly one of my interview models. The great Terry Gross, Public Radio, Fresh Air. I always enjoy listening to those. And thank God there are so many great interview podcasts out there.
Yes.
Because and isn't it interesting? I don't know if you've seen this article, but I guess in terms of listening and viewing trends, more and more people are blowing off whatever primetime is offering from a television standpoint, and they're watching YouTube, and they're watching live YouTube, or they're listening to podcasts instead of radio. And again, as a broadcast person, where broadcasting is so homogenized and is so bland, it's like I am not surprised, and I tell all of my broadcast friends, God bless you as long as you're able to maintain your broadcast career. I'm not saying I'm done in broadcasting. I have no idea what's happening, but I also know that being a man that's in his late 50s, I don't know how, and also frankly, being a white male, I don't know if we have enough of those in television or in radio and stuff. There's too many, and I recognize that, and that's fine. Because we should have more voices. We should have more inclusion and diversity. That's great. But by the same token, I'm not going to head out to pasture, and that's why I'm glad I've got Word Balloon.
Yeah, no. But before we do the news, I have one question. So you mentioned Chicago, and I'm sorry, the one thing that pops in my mind, no matter what, because I also am a fan of classic SNL and certain periods, not as much modern. You said Chicago, and my first brain was like, does he have a Harry Carey impression? Because not gonna lie, when I went to C2E2, it was in 2020 before the plague. As I was leaving the first day of con, and you brought up not pressing record, I did that accidentally, not pressing record when I was doing an interview with Joe Hill, and I'm still I'm still upset at myself. I mean, we still had the audio, so we were able to salvage it.
Oh, good.
But it wasn't the same, and I'm still kicking myself because it was an amazing interview. But we were leaving the con, and somebody was dressed as Harry Carey, and I had to take a photo of it, and I was like, you got what was it? It was that line. If the moon was made of spare ribs, would you eat it? It was like
Will Ferrell. Yeah.
Well, it's a simple question. If the moon were made of ribs, would you eat it? Just say yes and move on. And he was so good. It was just so good. And the guy who did it was fantastic because I think he was also a little drunk. And I just said, I was like, God, I love this town.
Well, I can attest. I knew Harry because I worked for 30 years in sports radio.
Oh my God.
And my favorite because listen, Will Ferrell's bit is great, but it really is an extreme caricature. However, there was a time they were doing a Cub game. It was the 100th anniversary of Cracker Jack.
Okay.
And Harry's partner was Steve Stone, the Hall of Fame pitcher. And he's kind of setting up and he's like, Harry, I don't know if you realize, but it's Cracker Jack Day here at Wrigley Field. And, the Cracker Jack people, they spent over $1 million today to make sure every attendee at Wrigley Field is going to get a box of Cracker Jack. And Harry went, well, I certainly hope there's going to be a prize at the bottom of the box. And Stone starts laughing, and he goes, oh, apparently when Harry was a little kid, he must have gotten gypped out of a prize. And he goes, hey, I'm not kidding. That's, when it's the Depression and you're saving all your pennies for a box of Cracker Jack and you shove your fist at the bottom of the box and boom, no prize. You get gypped. And the Cracker Jack people are tearing their hair out. Like, what is this man saying? And I swear to God, it happened. And I mean, that is one of like dozens of other fantastic Harry Carey moments. And the guy was one of a kind, brilliant broadcaster. But by the time in his last 10 years, especially with the Cubs, he was, I don't care anymore. I'm going to speak my mind. I don't give a damn. So there are other inappropriate stories that I will not share. Maybe afterwards, I'll tell you guys off the air. But
we're like all comics. We're working on a spinoff. It's called Splash Pages After Dark. So we'll book you for that when we're up and running.
I refer to Brubaker and Fraction and I. We always used to do Word Balloon After Dark because after a while they would, and they are much as we all are. It's a shame. I and forgive me, everybody, but
no,
people
go for
have a better sense of humor just about life in general. And I do worry that society has, in a lot of ways, become Victorian again. And you got to watch every word you say. And, God forbid, hey, it was a joke. Well, we didn't take it as a joke. And it's like, all right. And I get that. And I respect that. It's a shame.
Yes. I agree. So now, and on that note, news.
Isn't news, or is it? You forgot about Variant Watch.
Variant Watch.
It's part. Yeah, and Jar, you're on.
I'm on.
You can do this.
If I want to see what picture's up first, there's only 2. So, all right, we're going with the first one. All right, so Marvel Comics just showed off a cool new cover that you're looking at right here, done by artist John Tyler Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
You may know some of his work as he does a lot of these negative covers, but he also did like all the action figure Star Wars covers. That were really cool. But this is coming out. It's coming in January. So it's from Resurrection of Magneto #1. So check that out. That's all I got for that one.
Yeah.
And then we're on to...
Not even... No, I was just going to say, like, it's really interesting, the negative space. It's definitely... It's weird. It catches your eye in a certain way. But it's creative.
Does his Magneto not look like Q to you? The actor there, I forget.
Oh,
his
John
name.
Delancey.
Yeah,
a little bit.
He's got a little bit of that face structure. I'm just like, oh my god.
There you go. All right.
Who's writing this? Forgive me.
It's Al Ewing.
Oh, fantastic. Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't worry, Jar. I have the notes up, so I got you, buddy.
You're fantastic, Drew. I thought we were supposed to keep Variant Watch tight and quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm messing it up.
No.
Oh, no. It's my first time doing Variant Watch, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna screw
even
it
the
all up.
lifeguards have lifeguards, man. I got you.
I need them.
Well, this is also what it's about, to drive conversation about these. Like, we've been seeing, a lot more covers using a negative space like this. I forgot what we saw last week, but yeah, it seems like definitely
probably done by
a
him
trend
as well.
Oh, was that
this is the variant?
John Tyler.
Yeah, the variant.
As well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I saw the beginning of this segment. That's it's always a shame though. And it's funny, again, when we get to the book that we were going to discuss, I was looking at all the variant covers, and it's like, I get it, and I understand why they do it the way they do it. But it's like, man, that really, as you guys know, covers is really the front door. And that's what, you really want to make an impact. And I think this image obviously does. And it's like, oh, I'd want to read this book based on that. So it kind of sucks that it's a variant,
Yeah.
And it's like the 1 of 500 or something, probably.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and we started doing this because we noticed a huge uptick in variants. Like there was one week there was like 160 different variants.
Yep.
Wow. Like 230, something like that.
The one time I checked, there was 277 available variants.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's across all
of them.
Yeah.
Sure.
But so hey, listen. I mean, I'm not saying that the cover by Stefano Caselli isn't going to be great. Sure. But this is definitely eye-catching. So, but speaking of eye-catching, Jar, Carrie loved the next cover.
Well, the artist I love. I can't wait for. I may even pick this up just if I can. Marvel Comics just revealed Ghost Rider: Final Vengeance #1 by artist Greg Capullo. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. I always screw his last name.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. Fantastic. The comic starts in March and created by writer Benjamin Piercy.
I love that.
Danny Kim tells a story where Ghost Rider's powers get into the wrong hands. Now Johnny Blaze has to go on a big adventure to become Ghost Rider again before the new owner uses the demonic power for something bad. Capullo's variant for the first issue shows Johnny on what Marvel calls the final ride.
Yeah.
That is sexy.
Yeah, Carrie, another poster for your wall.
Yeah, I'm not even really a Johnny Blaze gal, but damn, that's nice.
Are you more of a Danny Ketch person, Carrie?
100%.
Danny Ketch, the first comic I ever read was the Creepshow comic when I was a kid. They had it in the library, but the first comic book that I went out and purchased, I was working right next to the mall, and I went from my restaurant and I sat at the comic book shop and I saw this glowing skull hanging there, and I couldn't afford that, but I started reading the Danny Ketchko Starter series, and then I got to meet Howard Mackie at Terrificon and
Oh, great.
interview him and hug him and have him on this show, and so yeah.
He's a mensch. I love that guy. Yeah.
She wrote a song about him, John. It gets way deeper than what she's
Danny
telling you.
Ketchko?
Yeah.
No, for Howard
no,
Mackie.
Howard Mackie's song even better.
Well, I was writing to him, I had Mackie the Knife, and yeah, and he was like, "Oh, I like that song. I love Mac the Knife." So I wrote a whole song for
Mackie
Howard
back in town. Yeah, absolutely.
Mackie's back in town. Yeah, because
I'm with you.
he was rewriting Danny Ketch again. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm not going to break into song. Okay. Going on.
So,
This is not the musical.
not yet. We're very song prone here. John, if you ever want that, me and Jar do a wonderful rendition of the Muppets Phenomena song.
It's a phenomenon.
No. What? Well, no, we're not doing a sequel,
No,
Jar.
Not today.
No, not today. We got John here. Okay,
Sequels don't work very well, anyways.
That's true. Also, but it's sad that that's actually accurate. But the other thing is, Jar, we have me and John, so that's double trouble right here, because I feel like me and him are very much on a similar level. So you're like, oh god, there's two of them. Jesus.
Well, I can't wait until we start talking about the book, because I'll just be able to sit here and like suck in all of you guys' knowledge. It's fantastic.
Well, Carrie, I'll let you know too in sports radio. And I noticed my buddy Sal is watching Abenanti. I did many parody songs for my sports radio station, and that was like I was the least sports-minded person at the station. I played radio, so we do a lot of comedy sketches and a lot of parody songs and stuff. So I'm with you.
Yeah, Drew and I go back and forth with a lot too.
Yep. John, she already wrote us a Muppet intro, so it's going to be amazing when we do it. You know. Yeah.
Working on an entire "We Didn't Start the Fire" one, but that.
Yeah, we're working on that one now.
I did that for Bobby Knight. We didn't want Knight fired. That's when he got let go from Indiana University.
Oh wow!
It's so hard to keep up with that rhyme and rhythm structure, though.
Oh, absolutely. Bobby Knight had to go. Started with a video because he was caught on video of abusing one of his kids. One of his players. So
wow.
Yeah.
All right, so we did variant watch. Jar, you did great. You only had 2.
I know, no.
All right.
Oh, so Leo's just like, hey, Jar can do something else then.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me find my little notes here.
Flip.
Flip. I think I found it. No,
okay.
That's about Miles Morales. Hold on.
Yep. Miss Marvel. They're friends.
Miss Marvel. Okay. I got it.
Okay.
Marvel has announced a new series with Miss Marvel, Mutant Menace, which serves as a sequel to Miss Marvel, The New Mutant. The creative team, consisting of writers Iman Vellani and Sabir Perazda. Anybody want to?
You did good.
Perazda, I think that.
Perazda.
Yeah, is returning along with artist Scott Godlewski and the New Mutants cover artist Carlos Gomez. In this upcoming series, Kamala Khan, having taken down a Stark Sentinel and disrupted an Orcus operation, continues to explore her mutant identity. Returning to Jersey City, she faces a new threat related to the fall of X and grapples with the challenges of being exposed as a mutant. Miss Marvel will encounter more X-Men, including... Oh, I turned the page wrong. Returning Jersey, including... iconic villains and reunite with key supporting characters. Mm-hmm. Sabir Perazda expressed excitement about co-writing with Iman Vellani, praising her as the definitive voice of Miss Marvel on both the page and screen. The series, titled Miss Marvel Mutant Menace, promises Kamala's most perilous journey yet, exploring the challenges let me catch my breath, faced by mutants in a world that both hates and fears them. The description teases the difficulties Kamala will encounter as she embraces her mutant and X-Men identity, questioning whether her community will stand by her feet. The series is set to be released in March 6th, and the creative team is eager to see how fans respond to it. And it sounds pretty cool. I'm not a huge Kamala Khan fan. It's been a weird few months with, not few months, but like she died, came back, and all that. Well, not died, but now has new powers.
Right.
I think it's kind of smart what they're doing to match it up with the series, but I don't know.
Well, also to bring her in, because she is such a comic geek as well, like, it's hilarious hearing her banter with Kevin Feige. She said something like, she'll let him believe that it's the 616, but it's not really not, or something like that. Yeah,
well,
it's awesome.
Well, the thing that I always respect, like, again, I have my mixed feelings about Kamala, how she's portrayed in the comics, because sometimes the fangirlness is a little much, and then sometimes she gets a little too dark. So it's about finding that balance, which is true of every character. But again, no matter how I feel about certain direction of the MCU and such, I really do respect Iman, because I remember seeing that photo that she had dressed like the character for Halloween, like in 2012, and now not only is she the character, and she's also writing it. I mean, I was like, what fan goals, man? Like, go, girl. Like, that is just amazing to be, you're admiring the character, and suddenly you're her voice and you're her portrayal. And I'm just like, that is just so goddamn inspiring, Just
100%.
go, girl.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Like, keep it up. We at Splash Pages support your dreams.
As does Word Balloon, indeed.
Yes, indeed. So keep it up. And yeah, come on.
No, when you find out a celebrity is a massive comic book fan, and Kevin Smith obviously had his run. Seth Meyers, massive comic book fan. It's great. And again, they get it. I mean, I mean, comics aren't for everybody. We all understand that. But thank God, the current generation grew up on this stuff, and they do justice to the material. So that's great.
Yes, totally.
One of the people I want to interview sometime, Method Man, huge comic book fan. I'm just which shocks me. I'm like, oh wow, you collected comics?
Yeah, man.
You weren't bullied for that?
Yeah, man.
Bastard.
Yeah, listen, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, my man. Like, even that
RZA's huge comic.
Oh yeah.
DNC is also a big comic fan. Yeah.
100%. So, all right. So, Miss Marvel coming back at you. March 5th.
Yeah. So next item we have, Image Comics has an exciting announcement.
Yeah.
New comic series called The Cabinet. Coming in February, the series crafted by the creative team Jordan Hart, David Ebeltoff, and Cheria Raimondi, which I got that wrong.
Chiara.
Okay. It's a supernatural adventure set in the 90s, way back last century.
That's last week, you mean?
The Cabinet revolves around two main characters, Avani, an Indian American teen, and Trent, a Midwestern jock. They embark on a thrilling mission to gather mysterious relics by teleporting across the post-Cold War landscape. Their goal is to undo a previous mistake made by Avani, which led to unleashing an ancient evil. The series is a limited run to 5 issues. It's set to blend elements of history, supernatural elements, and 90s nostalgia. We need more of that. It promises to be both fun and engaging with visually striking artwork. And the twist should definitely watch out for The Cabinet coming in February of 2024.
Cool. And I have to say, because I read the descriptions and I loved their comparisons. I believe they said there are 2. Constantine with Clara explains it all through a Lisa Frank-esque lens, or Lumberjanes meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's high praise. That's high praise, man. So,
I'm going through a 90s nostalgia right now. Me and the woman are rewatching Friends. Talk about,
no.
Nineties.
You haven't hit it. Talk to me when you're doing Blossom, my man.
Blossom.
I think I could redo that one.
Yeah. But listen, honestly, this sounds super cool. 5 issues. Like, why not? I mean, honestly, Image is just killing it with these great, fresh new stories. I mean, honestly, it's so cool. And honestly, why not? This sounds fucking cool, man. So, more power to you. That's all I have to say about that. What about you, Carrie? Do you have anything? I
No,
kind of figured this might be something you'd read.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is going to be on my
Okay.
reading list. And those outfits, like, if you had a lot more black to them, that's kind of what I dressed like. Like I had the ripped jeans with the shorts with the long leggings and tights and everything going on in different layers. But she's a little bit more preppy than I was, I think. But yeah, I had all the torn stuff going on and the
Yeah. Good. So
Oh,
February
like that much,
14th.
so.
So February 14th next year, the cabinet. Okay.
I was gonna say, well, you know me, I dressed like a Highlander in the '90s, so we won't go there.
Yes.
Oh, the
Yeah.
mullet.
Highlander with a ponytail. We're so proud of him.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true about Bill Bixby. The Incredible Hulk used to direct Blossom, the great Bill Bixby. You're right,
Oh
Kevin.
my God, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Oh, he was great. It was so tragic. I want to say he had some sort of bone disease that unfortunately cost him his life. But I mean, I'm a Bill Bixby purist. Not only the Hulk, but hell, my favorite Martian, for God's sake.
There you go.
We used oh, sorry. Go ahead, Drew.
Oh, go for it, Carrie.
No, Coker.
My comment is I was just whenever I hear his name, I remember this game we used to play called Botticelli and or not Botticelli. I remember this game we
Funicelli?
used to play, and I can't remember the name of it, but you'd say names and you had to go around and like say the letter of the whatever their last name, and if you got a double letter, you could do it, and so you reversed it, and so it'd be fun because it'd be like Bill Bixby, oh yeah, Bruce Banner,
Right.
so you'd like always throw that one right
Matt
back
Murdock.
at him.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
so,
Thank you, Stan, for all the alliterative secret identities.
Really? 30
Oh.
years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary, I'll beat you there. Fing, fang, boom, boom, bam.
ooh,
Next. Next.
Fearless Fosdick from Little Lab. There's a double.
right,
Hey, sex
and-
criminals! Yay!
John, yeah, I get to have you just had Fraction on again, so we're going to start talking a little bit about Chip here. Mr. Zdarsky has been teasing us for quite a while now this year. In his September 27th Substack newsletter, he wrote this huge exposition about the creation behind sex criminals and how he was like, Matt was just getting done kind of writing at Marvel and Chip was tired of working in the newspaper, and a random email got them together and they made this, what was supposed to be an absolute dick joke of a comic that turned into a really actually deep and very cool comic involving relationships growing up. The questions and answers sections, like I learned a lot, and it was actually, this is the first comic that I was on splash pages for, so they give me all this whenever it comes on. It's awesome. And so since this was the 10th anniversary, if you sign up by Substack, by the way, go to Chip Zdarsky's Substack, get on the newsletter, you get issue 1 PDF free if you can go back to the September 27th. But so they are going to be putting out some new stuff. We don't know what it is yet. He has not told us, but there's going to be something going on. Now, and this is something I'm going to ask you about because you know them better. There was talk back in 2015 about sex criminals getting a TV show, which got shut down. But it said that I discovered that earlier this year, Matt and Kelly Sue signed an overall deal with Amazon Studios, which would include sex criminals and DeConnick's Bitch Planet, which is also from Image Comics. Now, do you know, is that going good so
Matt
far?
hasn't revealed any
You don't have
specifics.
any insiders?
That said, though, my God, both of them experiencing such incredible success. Kelly Sue doing that Vegas show that's like Cirque du Soleil, and I don't remember the name of it, but that gave her a lot of buzz. Plus, even prior to that, they both were doing great stuff at Universal. And Matt is, I mean, my God, Monarch on Apple TV is so great. And I'm
Monarch's awesome.
like I might have said it earlier. They're like my little brother and sister, and I just am so happy for both of them because they're incredibly talented. And I know Monarch is just one of these buzz shows right now, rightfully so, and that's going to open a lot of doors for Matt. And my God, Chip, we love his art, and then we've discovered what kind of great. I mean, and shame on us or me because he was already writing his own comics and stuff prior to teaming up with Matt. But everything he's done at Marvel, everything he's done at DC, he is so great. And talking to Rob today kind of put it in my brain where I'm like, yeah, it's been a few months since I've talked to Chip. I got to get him back on the show. So no, someone had asked me as well, or asked us, Matt and myself, about the possibilities of the future of Sex Criminals. He mentioned what Chip has revealed on Substack, but I think it's a foregone conclusion, especially given the success of The Boys on Amazon, that they would be willing to go there and have something as fantastically controversial as Sex Criminals.
Absolutely.
And Chip really in the hugely long. I was going to read parts of it, but I'm not going to go through it. Except that when they were in Toronto, he read erotic poetry dressed up as Garfield on a stage, and Matt got his nipples pierced live after doing it.
Of course,
there are
they
pictures.
did.
There are pictures. I'm not gonna have people.
That's fantastic. Knowing that both, especially Matt, doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, but he credits this with his, like, this is what made him an actual comic book artist. He said that the 10-year anniversary of this is the 10 years of him actually being what counts as a comic book artist. So there you go, Leo. More recent, you love Chip's stuff with Batman, so you're just gonna have to.
Yeah, yeah.
Leo.
Good wording.
I won't go into it, but
watch it.
John, have you read Gotham War?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And really, and I never know how to say the name of the demon or the alien that's possessing Batman, Zur or whatever it is.
Zur,
There you go. No, it's a great story, and in fact, that's talking to Ram today. He started his next post Gotham War story arc and everything, and I love what Chip is doing. And they're both such distinct books, Detective and Batman, right now. But no, yeah, Chip's the man. And really, I mean, my God, great Daredevil run as well. Love everything he did with Spider-Man, the 2-in-1 that he did with the Thing and Human Torch. Chip knows what he's doing, and so does Matt. And yeah, I really, I have nothing but good feelings about these people. And yeah, I met Matt through Chip, or rather, I met Chip through Matt. And yeah, Chip's amazing.
I absolutely loved his Failsafe and Batman of Gotham. Gotham War kind of lost me, but I'm really excited to read 140, which dropped today. So
yes, yes,
issue 140 comes out today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So next.
Yeah, ChemDog says Gotham War got better as it went on.
Okay.
Leo would disagree.
Yeah.
So moving on to
look at this.
Story. I am super pumped by this. Everybody knows that this is one of my favorite seasons. I mean, I'm wearing a Ghostbusters holiday shirt there.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of this. Just in case anybody wants to admire, yes, that's a Christmas wreath Ghostbusters shirt. Yeah, but the news is this story, which is going to be dropping, I believe.
It dropped today.
It dropped today. There you go. Bam, dropped today. The crossover, yet again, that we didn't expect we needed this season. Santa and Batman, Silent Night, and that's with the K kids. You're having essentially Santa hitting Gotham to investigate a brutal crime in a days leading up to Christmas. Who the heck did this? We find out Batman is one of his former students. What?
That makes so much sense.
I know, right? So Santa is going to be teaming up with heroes of the DC universe. Essentially, I'm just so pumped because I'm always down for a fun Christmas story. And as much as I love the idea of Santa rocking the Infinity Gauntlet, knocking the shit out of the Avengers, Batman teaming up with Santa is just fantastic. I thoroughly am looking forward to this. Also, since the writer, Jeff Parker, who I've been a fan of for years, he did Future Quest. He did the second half of the New 52 Aquaman, picking up after Jeff Johns. The artwork is by Michelle Bandini. She is just this beautiful work. I love the stuff here. So the Zatanna showing up. It's totally awesome. And again, I am down for fun Christmas stories. DC always made a really good thing with having some great holiday stories, which we at Splash Pages have reviewed. I miss their DC anthologies. They used to be really great. Yeah, I'm just fun, stupid fun. That's just what I'm looking for. And somehow somehow just Batman teaming up with Santa is just the dynamic duo I didn't know I always wanted.
Santa's buff.
For real.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at that guy.
Yeah,
It's the Santa from Violent Night.
Yeah, right.
Listen, I heard he's doing a lot more than dropping presents in this story. I heard he might be Santa Claus Vampire Hunter. So it's between me and you. If that's true, I have a new cosplay. So
Just one classic punch, and I don't care who he's punching, but I just want to see Santa just like deliver a really good overhand right in boxing terms. Yeah, that would be great.
John, did you see Violent Night last year?
I did not. No.
Yeah.
The guy from Stranger Things, I forgot his name.
David Harbour.
Oh, David. Yeah, David Harbour. Yeah.
Is incredible movie, but it's he plays a Santa that
Leo,
before he got his powers. True.
John, it's Die Hard, but with Santa Claus.
There we go.
Outstanding. I've seen screen caps and stuff. But all right, if you guys like it, I'll try to check it out.
Yeah, so good.
Definitely a new Christmas classic.
Yeah, John, fair warning. It goes ridiculous. It starts out fine, and then it goes hard. Like,
yeah,
you're just like, what?
I thought it was supposed to be a horror story too when I watched it.
Yes, so did I.
Nope.
Gladly, it wasn't. It was Santa Claus kicking ass.
Basically, I was just like, oh, Santa. I was like, okay, all right. I feel like David was like, oh, thank God, I can't take another flop like Hellboy.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? That's all right.
And I just did it. All right. I know, but check this out, guys. If you want a little fun in your stocking, and if you don't, coal, tons of coal. Moving on.
Yeah, and at your LCS today.
Indeed, check that out. Definitely. All right.
Oh, good excuse to talk to Parker.
There you go. Jar Jar, this is you, buddy.
Oh, this is the Spider-Man Miles Morales 300th. So
Yeah.
over 12 years, Miles Morales has evolved from a small concept into a cultural sensation, finding success in comic books, video games, and now the big screen. Marvel Comics, the metaphorical hometown of this iconic character, is gearing up for a major celebration in 2024. With the release of Miles Morales Spider-Man number 300, this will depart from the expected issue 18 in March, which underscores the magnitude of the occasion, marking the 300th installment of Miles Morales' solo title across various volumes and titles. Announced during LA's Comic-Con Spider-Man Gang War, Miles Morales Spider-Man 300 promises to be an expansive anthology featuring contributions from current series creators Cody Ziegler, Federico Vicentini, and as well as the return of co-creator Sarah Pichelli. The anthology will also showcase the artistic talents of significant figures from Miles' history, including David Marquez and Juan Cabal, with more artists to be unveiled. This special issue is poised to be a must-read for fans, encapsulating the essence of Miles Morales, and it is set to release in March of 2024.
And Jar, just to piggyback off of that, this is also a big story because it's actually featuring Miles's new arch enemy. A character's name is Rabble, which we saw in another series. Essentially, Rabble has a real chip on her shoulder against Miles ever since she learned his secret identity. So you've got that, plus you got Cape Killers, which, as we know, are specifically armored. This was the concept that was brought in, I believe, in Civil War. They're high-tech goons that are essentially equipped to take down superheroes. So you have Agent Gao, Scorpion, Hightail. They're also gunning for Spidey. But Miles will have a backup of his own. He's going to have Aaron Davis, a.k.a. the Prowler, as we know, his Uncle Aaron, and his best friend, Kamala Khan. So, hey, it's going to be a pretty good issue, not going to lie.
Awesome.
Yeah, wonder if they're looking to have lightning strike twice. Like Amazing Spider-Man 300 with the with Venom. Maybe this is another.
They'll definitely have that variant cover, but I'm hoping. Well, it'd be nice if they dropped a Venom or something new.
Well, I mean the introduction of a
the impact
character that goes far.
Yeah. Well, we never know, but. Again, we've talked about this. I still find it really amusing that they'll do this. They'll always start, new series, number one, and then we're going back to the regular legacy.
Legacy numbering.
Yeah,
I agree.
That was what my mind went to when I was reading this. I was just like, hold on, for us collectors, does that mean I have to start? Are we going to go 300, 301, or are they going to go 300 to issue 19? Like, are you going to really confuse people?
I don't know.
Why don't they do both? I truly, legacy numbering I respect. I mean, it is amazing when you think of, oh my God, that many issues.
Oh yeah.
Certainly Detective and Action when they reached 1,000 was just incredible. But yeah, I agree with you. It's annoying. I remember Squirrel Girl had 3 different volume 1s around like the same 18-month period. And it just makes it that much harder for the people to start. And where do I start? Where which is the right place to start and everything. So sorry, David Gabriel at Marvel, but that's my one little complaint.
And also, and Jeremy, we've talked about this. It's also the death of the significance of number one. Like they've pumped out so many number ones. Who cares?
It really is.
It's like it's basically like back in the 90s when people would buy tons of these commemorative issues and they try to sell them back, and they were like, yeah, you know what you paid for it? That's what you get back for it. Like,
not even that.
Yeah.
You're lucky if your $5 comic's worth $1 once you leave the store.
Absolutely. So that's why you got to have those metaphorical nest eggs tucked in, kiddies. You know the comics.
Or buy the variant covers.
All of them.
I was dreaming about having to go out and get first appearances that all had variant covers and trying to organize them, and then there was a crossover event and I just had all the comics surrounding me. I didn't know what to open because what was I going to ruin? And I get horribly depressing dreams sometimes when I get my mess screwed up.
Well, I had the great idea to take my Batman collection and take even the crossovers and try to put them all together into one, and it was a nightmare. I was just like, what did I do to myself?
I'm still trying to figure out Night Terrors.
Harry, you need to let it go. Okay.
All right.
So next we have also announced at the Gang War panel at LA Comic-Con. This is going to be a new giant size special issue as part of the 50th anniversary celebration. So this is giant size Spider-Gwen #1. And this time is spotlight on Spider-Gwen, the story crafted by writer Melissa Flores and artist Alba Glez, unfolds in Spider-Gwen's native dimension, Earth 65, where she confronts new threats, including a reimagined Doc Ock. The issue features cover art by Brian Hitch, which is shown.
Right.
Melissa Flores says working on Spider-Gwen Smash and helping Gwen Stacy find her footing in her home dimension was a fantastic experience. The chance for future explore those dynamics in a one-shot was exhilarating surprise, and which she didn't anticipate. She wasn't ready to say goodbye to Gwen or Earth 65 just yet, and she's incredibly grateful that now she doesn't have to. So in Spider-Gwen Smash, we're helping Gwen Stacy settle into her home dimension in Spider-Gwen Smash. It was, let's see. I missed myself. Ah, crap. Wrong notes. Okay, forget me. Comes out March 6th.
Okay.
I'll always kick myself because when Spider-Gwen first came around, I was just like, this will never catch on. Gwen should be dead. It was a death that mattered. Blah, blah, blah. God, I was so wrong.
You
So
were
wrong.
idiot. I mean, I love you, but still, idiot. All right. Moving on.
Yeah.
Next.
Gary.
This is always scary.
Oh, wow.
Studios. Boom Studios is releasing a holiday horror comic. As you can see here, Stuff of Nightmares, Sleigh Ride #1. And it is written by the young adult author R.L. Stine of Goosebumps fame. Which, by the way, if you would like to feel old, Goosebumps is now celebrating its 30th anniversary this year.
Oh,
I feel like everything's celebrating 30.
Yeah, it is, because we're all kind of in that age group.
oh.
Except for Drew. But,
God damn it. My hairline receded a little bit more hearing that. God damn it, woman.
I feel your pain.
Keep going.
All right. R.L. Stine, he's going to be joined by artist Pius Bach, a Lithuanian comic book artist who has worked with Boom Studios on such comics as Eat the Rich and The Magicians, and House of Slaughter colorist Francesco Segala. In this story, the Nightmare Keeper brings us a tale following a mall Santa who discovers that his profession is dying, and as he is swallowed up by insanity, he decides that his career won't be the only thing that's dying this Christmas. And this will be released on December 6th. And interesting little side note, I got this from Raz, actually, right as I was doing some research for the show. He knows R.L. Stine and has a bunch of information about him, and this was what I thought was the best thing was his son never read any of his books, but he would ask his dad to include his friends' names in them. And later he found out that his son had been charging his friends for it. So
That's funny.
Okay.
so
That's the way to do it.
Okay. I want to say though that this is my favorite cover of all of them. This is by Francesco Francavilla, who, as we know, did those superb horror themed covers for Afterlife with Archie. I mean, he's done other things as well, but my God, I mean, he just does such a good job with these covers. I mean, look how fucking spookily that shit is. Like, geez.
I love that guy, Frankovich, and you can immediately tell because he loves orange. There's always and he uses it well. I am not saying that as a slight in any way, but I love his color palettes that he uses for his art, and yeah, he's amazing.
Absolutely, but yeah. So Carrie, we just I think we just assume anytime it's a horror story, we're like, well, that's gonna be Carrie's.
Yeah, pretty much at this point. What is he riding? Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Zombie reindeer.
Yeah,
zombie reindeer.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Or it's a person just with reindeer antlers, zombie with reindeer antlers. Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
God.
they're tied on his head.
Oh my God. They made Rudolph into a gimp. Oh God.
Back in your box.
And I believe this is our last news item. Up is Drew with Ghost.
Yes. Super pumped to go over this. Ghost Machine, everybody, has added a new creator, and it's a big one. Ivan Reyes, who, as we know from his work on DC, Blackest Night, Aquaman, to name a few, has officially become the 10th creator to join Image Comics' Ghost Machine. The San Paulo native took to the stage at the CCXP alongside his frequent collaborator and the other Ghost Machine co-founder, Jeff Johns, who our guest knows very well. This team will be reuniting yet again on a new series called Hyde Street, which will kick off the Ghost Machine horror universe, introducing bizarre and strange new characters like a Mr. X-Ray, which, look at that side by side. I mean, Jesus, that's beautiful and terrifying. So Hyde Street will be debuting in January's Ghost Machine issue 1, which is way ahead of its proper launch in 2024. Rice did reveal on his Instagram that he's no longer be working with DC. He thanked them for 20 fucking years of stellar ass work Sinestro War, Blackest Night, Brightest Day, Aquaman, Trinity War. But he said it's time for a new adventure and new challenges. So essentially, the synopsis of this has been described as combining Blackest Night scope with Twilight Zone's thought-provoking drama. So, as we already seen with the covers, I'm super pumped, and it's also funny because this was when we first covered Ghost Machine, when they first announced their creation and whatnot. We had mentioned the unnamed Rook Exodus, a story about the time displaced family called the Rockefellers, but there was an unnamed series. This is the unnamed series, Hyde Street. So I'm
second cover, the connecting cover looks sick.
It's so great. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I just had to side by side them on the thing because they just look so cool. I wanted you guys to be able to.
So we look at basically the preview, or at least the nice little intro to Hyde Street in the 64-page Ghost Machine issue 1 that goes sale January 24th next year. All Ghost Machine main titles will start shipping April 2024. So everybody, go to your LCS, pre-order, get on this. This shit is going to be lit. I'm good.
Unless you don't order, and then we're going to be like, what happened?
Don't be a German. Don't sleep on this.
Oh, I won't be sleeping on that.
More artists should be, or creators of some sort, to be joining Ghost Machine, right? I think we're.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, they said more. There's definitely more that are coming on.
They're just waiting.
They're just working on finishing. You know, they're obligated to finish projects.
Yeah.
But you know, but what a time, man. You know.
I'll be talking to Jeff and Jay Fabic on Word Balloon. We're recording something tomorrow, and I'll be putting it out probably Thursday.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Big fans of their work.
Well, that concludes.
About it.
News.
Sorry, what was that, Carrie?
I was just fangirling. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Fangirl on, girl. Fangirl on.
So that concludes our news. We're going to be going to our book of the week, which John, you picked. And would you like to tell us why you picked this book?
Sure. JSA, the Thy Kingdom Come story arc that, as I was telling everybody before we started, I thought was only 6 issues. I didn't remember how many issues it was. And it's many. And a couple of annuals as well. Kingdom Come, as I said maybe earlier, Marvel's and Kingdom Come really brought me back to comics. And the Kingdom Come story and Superman's story in particular in that always fascinated me. It's the closest thing after the post-crisis world did away with the Earth 2 Superman, although he came back obviously in Infinite Crisis. I think it was Infinite Crisis.
It was Infinite. You're right.
All right. And you know, he's the first hero, and I always felt that it was a shame that they got rid of him because he was the inspiration for everybody, literally and figuratively. So the closest thing we got to that was this unfortunate Kingdom Come Superman, who the world passed him by. His type of moral codes have passed him by. If people remember the Kingdom Come story. The Joker goes to the Daily Planet, kills everybody, including Lois. Yeah. Superman adheres to his code, brings him to justice, but it is Magog who, it's kind of in that Lee Harvey Oswald sort of way on the steps of the courthouse, kills the Joker and is acquitted, and because the public approves. And it's like, yeah, it's about time. And Superman is kind of so shocked and disgusted, he walks away from being a hero. Right. And then, of course, the events of Kingdom Come. JSA has said this Thy Kingdom Come story is great because the addle-minded Starman from the Lightning Saga earlier, which is a great Brad Meltzer, Jeff Johns story, is still with the JSA, accidentally opens a wormhole or a black hole to Earth 22, the Kingdom Come Earth. And Superman, at this very crucial moment of the Kingdom Come story, is sucked into Earth 1 and you know, finds himself amidst the Justice Society. And all these great images of Earth 22, Kingdom Come Superman, you just see the weight of his world on his shoulders, and that wonderful, especially the Alex Ross cover that you showed earlier. Just that almost regret, and there it is. Yeah, that's just a classic Alex Ross pose for this and the Golden Age Superman, and it's again, you just see the weight and the burden of things that happened that he feels were maybe partially his fault.
Right.
It's this great side story that I think just fills out the whole Kingdom Come story that much more, and it's a wonderful exploration of where the JSA was in this period, where they were the teachers of the DC universe, and so many young heroes get their start in this story arc as well, and they have wonderful individual stories. So all of that, and we'll get more into it, but all of that really just it's one of the reasons why I love JSA as much as I did.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is I think this is one of the best story arcs they had.
I have to admit, I was ignorant to most of the characters in this until I started reading it. It was great to get some golden age heroes put into my mind. Like I had so much fun. Tell you what, John, I'm the reason why we don't read very long stories on this show. I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. This, though, it was, I think, somewhere close to 18 issues or something like that.
You blew through it, man. Usually
I really did.
We have to pull teeth just to get you to read 8. You're like,
No,
oh,
I'm telling you, I was having fun learning about the different characters. I have to know more about Wildcat and Wildcat Junior. There, I'm just like, what's going? How did he become a werepuma? I'm like, what's this storyline all about? And Starman, like, holy crap! Talk about a character that just screams out to me like, you must know more about me.
I'm never going to eat a sloppy Joe without thinking of him.
Right?
And just that schizophrenia making him so childlike, and really, here's some great panels of him and Earth One Superman, and that's why I love the Lightning Strike story, because and I remember talking to Jeff about it, and it's like, oh yeah, these were my friends. They were my friends who knew how to fly, and and it was this great little way of. This is pre them, they got rid of the Superboy idea, but he was still young enough that he's hanging with the Legion and stuff. And that's the thing, like, Starman is one of his friends. And Starman is just like, hey, Clark, how you doing? And just really very matter of fact talking to him and stuff. And the patience and also wanting to understand why Starman has this terrible schizophrenia and just trying to break through and figure out, because Starman is on a mission, as you guys know, to come back to modern day, and there's a purpose, and so yeah, Superman very patiently is just like, yeah, Tom, what's wrong? Why are you here? And it's beautiful. And there's Citizen Steel is a great story. Yeah. That's the thing. All these heroes, I mean, and really, again, 18 issues, but you really get to know this new crop of heroes, and it's amazing. They're great stories.
I felt such strife for Citizen Steel. I was just like, the poor guy just can't get a break. Nobody's listening to him.
And I think the thing that I definitely have to give credit to Jeff is that he writes teams very well, because you see some people, they don't write teams well. Like, everybody sounds the same, and that's always been a gripe of mine. Like I don't want to read a book where everybody sounds like Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have that distinct voice, and there's a lot. Like, I mean, Carrie was talking about this when we finished it. Like, in one of those books, like, there are so many characters, and you have to give each one a voice and bubble. I was like, geez, that's just a headache. But he does so well, and I think that's also why the JSA really flourished, because he was consistently the creative writing force for it for years. I mean, he picked up, like, back in the 90s, it was like 1999, he picked up where James Robinson and David S. Goyer were doing. And then he picked up he was teamed up with David S. Goyer for a while. So yeah, and then it was just Jeff, and he took the JSA so far. Like, Jeremy, you're talking about these kids growing up, this legacy. you know, I've read it where Courtney was the new kid on the block, you know, and when I say new kid, I'm talking about she was still the Star Spangled Kid. She wasn't Star Girl yet, you know, and you had all these other characters, even when Mr. Terrific, Michael Holt showed up new. So, you know, you get that sense of they really all grew up, you know, everybody there earned their place alongside these people who we discussed. They were the originals, you know, Jay Garrick, Alan Scott, Ted Grant, you know, they're the teachers, you know, and all these new characters, even new ones like Jakeem Thunder, you know, who is, you know, the
kid with the genie.
The genie picking up Johnny Thunder. So, you know, again, legacy has always been a really big part of it. And I think it was definitely really good. But my God, I just find it funny because when I was reading this, I didn't realize till later in the story that Starman had plucked him right as the bomb was dropping in Kingdom. Yeah. And I thought it was at some point in the future. It was like years past Kingdom Come. But then when I realized that specific one, I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, wow. Like, the moment was just so big. And speaking of Starman, I'm sorry. One of my favorite moments was when because he's crazy. So he's kind of rocking some Deadpoolian breaking the fourth wall. He's talking about a map to the multiverse. And he looks like, anybody have one? And they're all like, what is going on here? And they're just like, he's special. Like, is that what we're calling it? You know, I was just like, oh my God. He was a nut.
These images, and I'm glad you showed the variant cover of the boxing match between Wildcat and his son. That's terrific. But also, there it is, man. And I was so mad that it was a variant. I'm like, I'm not paying, because that's such a classic boxing poster presentation, and I'm like, wow, that's cool. I'm not paying for that. That's, you know, again, I don't know, man. I don't buy variant covers, but I certainly appreciate them. But also, Power Girl's story is just heartbreaking, as you see from the grave right there, and her depression in these panels. It's coming off of Infinite Crisis. She really had finally found the Golden Age Superman and Lois and Prime, Superboy Prime. And Lex Luthor, Alexander Luthor, and now really does feel more alone than ever before. And that's another wonderful storyline in this. And what Gog, the god of the third world, the main antagonist or adversary, if you will, because I think with good intentions he's trying to be a benevolent god. But man, just seeing Power Girl get an opportunity to go back to what she thinks is her Earth 2, and again, getting the rug pulled out from under her and stuff, and it's like, no, it's not my world, and I am so alone. Or even when she meets Kingdom Come Superman, and she's like, man, you're so much like my cousin, and you know, who really was like this older brother father figure. And I mean, and that's what I love about Infinite Crisis too, is Lois really treating Power Girl like their daughter. I mean, that's great stuff. Look at that. That's fantastic, man. And Eaglesham, his interpretation of the Kingdom Come Superman, just as valid as Alex's is. I mean, Alex is the great, you know, cover artist and stuff, but and occasionally within this story did do his shame on me. Of course, he recently did Fantastic Four Full Circle, but this was like a return to even doing interiors.
Yeah.
There was that one story where they kept on flipping between the two. That was amazing.
Yeah,
but it worked so well. It was like the art just was cohesive together. Like, I don't know.
But I will say this issue here is definitely one of my favorites because, like, the saving the girl from suicide was, in my mind, that was right on par for when he had that same moment when All-Star Superman. You had that same moment. It's essentially almost the same story, but it still hits just as strong. And especially with him just holding her in the air, you know, still talking. I was like, my God, like it's not just the scene, but it's the scene, how it's drawn, like the emotional resonance. That's right up with the core of Kingdom Come. I mean, Kingdom Come was one of the few comics I've read that I was choking. Like I was I almost cried. Kingdom Come ending was just it hits you like a fucking freight train. It's so powerful.
And the best interpretations of Superman are these one-on-one moments where, yeah, he's all powerful, but he understands the human condition,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to just help, and it's that simple.
That's what the one of the main things in this book that really was evident, like the need to get the civilians to safety first. Make sure whatever's going on, no matter what, the civilians were safe. And
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated that. I was like, this is real superheroing.
Yeah.
Like,
but I will say this, and then I want someone else to talk because I feel like I'm doing too much again.
You're doing great, Drew. You're doing great.
Thank you, Jeremy. You're doing fantastic, well, bud. And Carrie, I'm glad you're paying attention.
I have things to say. I'm just waiting.
Oh, I know. But for me, the one of the best issues in all the 18 we read, everybody, 18 in a week. We're very proud. The ones Alex both wrote and illustrated was the one shot. It was so powerful. Just like reading it, especially because of what it fleshed out, like kind of like lost scenes of Kingdom Come.
Absolutely.
Like that. I mean, just reading that, I was like, wow, like it's just it's kind of the way I felt about it. It was kind of like how I felt about Rogue One by Star Wars. It told a story I didn't need, but the way it was told, it became crucial, and I really learned to care.
Agree.
So you appreciate that loss, even because it was one thing for us to hear about the loss, because they talked about it a lot in Kingdom Come, but to actually see it, to see Lois Lane pass in his arms, and how much that not only did Lois die that day, but Clark Kent died with him.
Yep. And when he sees Earth One Lois, God, those scenes are so. And she's like, "You can't look at me," and he's like, "No, because it hurts too much." And also, when he's like kind of scoping out the Daily Planet clandestinely, and Superman Earth One shows up, and his first is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" But really, at the end of the day, I love when Supermen of different parallel worlds do meet each other. And it's something that I loved in the Bronze Age in particular, with the Golden Age Superman and the Crisis era Superman and stuff. And it's just like, hey, are you okay? And I mean, again, they can't help it. They're just good guys. And it's really this like almost younger brother going like, hey, man, it's us. It's me. You can talk to me about this. Yeah. And those scenes really just resonate with me. And again, it just shows the character of Superman.
Totally.
I even felt bad for Gog, the first, I forget his name, Thomas something Thomas.
Oh, Magog, the disciple of Gog. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like got a rough deal out of this. Like just trying to help out his god.
Well,
yeah. By killing everybody. But
yeah, well, he was taking down. It's what most Bibles say. They're or most religions say. No having false gods. No, thou shalt not bow down before any other gods before me, or something like that.
Oh, that's good, Jar. That's actually pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'll look that.
Yeah. You know what? Someone else talk. Leo or Carrie, you talk. I'm good.
Go for it, Carrie.
So the lettering is something I wanted to bring up in this one, because this one is what made me hunt down Rob Lee. And I mean, obviously here you can see where the speech balloons go to them, but in other ones where you aren't sure who is talking, he made it really easy to follow by having slightly different colors for things, using their emblem at the beginnings of them. And he also, if you notice, with a lot of, like right there with that Khatum, makes sure that it isn't overpowering the graphic. Like you can see everything that's going on, and you hear the sound, but it isn't, I know I've been on this lettering kick lately. It's a weird thing, but it's really well done here. And it also, because it was so hard for me to keep up with all of these different characters. As you guys can see, as we've been going through this, they'll show the table, and then we're getting pages of who is who and what they're from and how to relate to them. And there's finally my favorite splash page on it was when they're all trying to sit at the table, because in this, I read it from the beginning of the volume 3 JSA up through 22 with the rest of the stuff in it too. And they're all recruiting all the new legacies, and they finally get to the point right here. This, I think that was it. Maybe. Yeah, they can't fit at the freaking table anymore. They're like all trying to sit down. And there's like, I think in the back there, like Starman is picking up a recliner that Red Cyclone or
Red
Cyclone
Tornado.
is sitting in.
Yeah, Cyclone. Yeah.
Yeah, Cyclone. And he's just like, is anybody sitting here? I was sitting there. Oh, sorry, but there's just like, we can't fit anybody else at the table. And I was just like, I have no idea who half of these people are, but all right. I'm getting into it because they did. Oh, and Cyclone's method of talking, just the 90 miles an hour. I was that girl when I was younger. I could go for hours without being like pausing once or taking a breath.
Carrie, I do want to say I would not be surprised if you did have somebody make a harness for a monkey so it could fly. Like that's right up your alley. Like,
I mean, if I was gonna have a monkey, then
I would
have wings. Would need to be a flying monkey.
Oh my God! Yes, they definitely needed a TARDIS to fit them all because
totally true.
Like some of those battle scenes, I was like, how? I was like, my God, this artist is fantastic. I can't even draw one of these people, much less an.
Oh, for real! And it's not like they cheated on any of them. You got full facial features on every single character. It was just like, holy crap! Even though some of them are wearing full masks, there was different facial identifications and stuff.
100%, man. Absolutely. I also love, forgive me because I want to know what Leo thinks, but I love that there would be interludes where, all right, we have a problem that we can't solve. Let's pull in another JSA member. And when Sand shows up, that's a great little mini story. Or certainly Dr. Midnight being the kind of forensic expert and can really get down to the bottom of this stuff. And that was always a hallmark of this JSA run, which I always thought was great. And it's like, all right, we need somebody that specifically can solve this problem. Let's get X. And it was great. And again, Sand, for being only in a handful of pages and stuff, has a complete story arc of him having restless sleep and Gog giving him the ability to soundly sleep. And I love Ma Hunko, by the way, the original Red Tornado. I love her too. And it's like, Sand, sleep. You need this. This is good.
And and she had a great story, which was funny enough. It was actually, I believe, Christmas related. In Jeff's run in the 1999, the early 2000s, I was just like, dude, like what Jeff Johns gets that the heart of JSA is always legacy.
Yes,
history. You have these characters who are just as still prevalent in the past as they are in now the present / their future.
So, well, and also that's DC. And when the New 52 happened, I'm like, I'm all for new ideas and new things, but they threw away the legacy. And it's like, no. And everyone shits on DC. Oh, DC stands for Dad's Comics. Yeah, it does. You know what happens with Dad's Comics? He shares them with his kid. That happened to me. The Treasury size white covered Shazam, Captain Marvel. I'm 7 years old, and we're in the Wisconsin Dells on a little vacation. And I'm in this gift shop and I'm looking at it. My dad walks up and goes, "Hey, that's Captain Marvel. I used to read that. Do you want that?" And I'm like, yes, please. And we sat down and we read it. He's like, "There's Dr. Savannah. Oh my, there's the Rock of Eternity." He's like, "I remember all this stuff." And it was fantastic. And so the New 52, cool. Well, they're all outlaws now and they're all rebels and they don't like each other. And it's like, Well, you just blew the recipe, kids. I don't know. And again, that's why Jeff, when he came back with Rebirth, and that beautiful 1-page panel of shame on me, Barry Allen hugging Wally. Wally, how could I ever forget you? And it's like, yeah, man, you cry. And Damage's story. I'm so glad you got that page up, because Damage's story is heartbreaking.
Oh my
God.
And I love that Liberty Bell, in particular, is able to get through to Damage and all of his frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a great couple, Our Man and Liberty Bell and stuff. All right, I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
No,
no.
I loved. Oh my God, Damage constantly hitting on Judo Master. The right words. I was like, I can't deal with you, kid.
I loved when. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, Drew. Yeah, in that last panel. Oh, I get it. I'm hot now. That was hilarious.
I loved when they showed Judo Master's point of view of how everybody's talking. She's grabbing like one word here, one word there. I'm like, that is fantastic. That is good comic writing to give you all points of views of everybody.
Yeah, but Leo, it's finally your turn to talk, buddy. So whatever T-shirt you're making, stop, please. And
who do you think's doing screens?
Yeah, he makes it all work, Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He's probably looking up toys on new Transformers.
Yeah.
I also thought it was hilarious how Gog couldn't hear Mr. Terrific, like, because he didn't believe in any religion. I'm just like, this is like hitting some deep parts. And the different portrayals from each character that had different religions, the Jewish religion, the Christian faith, like everybody's represented. I was like, this is really well done.
Yeah, man.
And they're all getting along.
Most.
Well,
yeah, mostly.
For now, yeah.
Like,
yeah, I totally agree with all of you. I absolutely loved it. From the artwork to the writing, like we mentioned earlier before, to switch between, Alex Ross's art and I forgot the gentleman that
Dale Eaglesham.
Yep. Anytime there's like a flashback or anything like that, it was just everything just was so cohesive. And a lot of these characters I didn't know, but being able to tell the story and getting to know their wants and needs, was very well portrayed. And like I loved it, even going back to actually towards the end with Power Girl, and you had the two Power Girls fighting, being sorry, my dog just walked in, being able to easily decipher the two of them and like feel for one and absolutely, despise the other. Like, why are you being so mean to her? It's
why won't they just listen to her?
Yeah.
I know you're immediately on her side. Absolutely, man. And again, also making her the leader of the JSA was a really great move. And I think again, Jeff just gets these characters. I mean, my God, even now in the current Justice Society and that great Stargirl miniseries, he actually fooled me because he created all these new sidekicks for so many of the Golden Age heroes, and it was great because I'm like, because they also did a who's who during Stargirl, and they had the classic kind of who's who descriptions of them, and first appearance, Crack Comics, 1948 or whatever, and I'm like. He fooled me. I'm like, Jeff, did I miss these? And he's like, oh, John, shame on you. You usually know your Golden Age. That's one of the reasons why I like talking to you. You should know these characters. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And then I'm like, he's fucking with me. That's fine. And I'm glad. And right there, I believe that's Jerry Ordway art as well. It is on Earth 2 stuff. And, and by the way, another great Justice Society legacy as far as Jerry's body of work. And really gets these characters. And one of my favorite people. And as you know, a Terrificon staple every year. Yeah. This is, and man, poor Huntress. Gonna say no to this guy that everyone figures she's gonna marry, including Dick Grayson, who she the Earth 2 Robin that she kind of has been pining for all this time.
Yep.
Tragic shit, man.
Yep. But don't worry, John. Comic books are supposed to be for kids. Remember, we can't.
Yeah, I know.
Now, this is the for Kingdom Come, there was 3 stories for it, right? There, like 3, or this was the second
Trade
sequel.
paperbacks.
3.
No, I mean as
Oh,
of
right. There was the Kingdom miniseries as well, which
Right.
I felt unfortunately didn't resonate the way this story does, in my opinion.
And in my research, I didn't realize Injustice is also Earth 22. I didn't realize that was the same Earth.
I didn't realize that either. Wow.
Yeah,
Because I did the same rating you did, I think.
yeah.
They were
According to the DC Wiki, they said Earth 22.
Well, you also have to remember, Leo, is that a lot of times they keep reshifting universes. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was Earth 22. This was Earth 22 then. But when they reorganized Earths, I think after like Crisis or anything about restructuring the multiverse, like Rebirth and stuff, they always rename and renumber because again they want to get to the 52 Earths.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
I
think they
think now it is, but I don't think it is. I don't know if Kingdom Come is Earth 22 anymore. I don't know.
So it says for the wiki, Earth 22 were reused several times for Earth 22, Earth -22, Arrowverse -22, and then Injustice.
Okay.
Earth 22, also known as Earth 96, is one of 51 divergent realities.
Yes. Divergent.
I think they basically just went, hey, Superman had his wife killed by his wife killed by Joker, and this other guy killed him. And what if Superman was the guy to get involved behind that and he killed Joker?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And then,
instead of being the stand-up fellow he was in this one and getting transported away right before everything, let's have him cause it and be the exact opposite of what you provided us to read here.
well, the funny thing is that Kingdom Come being one of the more popular Earths, that they keep coming back to it. Like right now, Mark Waid with World's Finest with the absolutely talented Dan Mora, they're already back in Kingdom Come, and it's already it's similar to what we've seen, but it's already a little different.
Yeah.
Kingdom Come we've already seen, and again, when it's a popular Earth, I mean, they'll keep coming back to it. And we've seen that a lot with Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns.
They're going back to Killing Joke again.
They're going back to Killing Joke. There's again, if it has fans and it will make them money, DC is like, okay, but let's think about this though. What if?
I just love that Mark is killing it at DC right now, and I'm so glad that whatever past friction there was with management has gone away. And Mark is just every book. I mean, even Shazam, I think he's doing amazing stuff with that. And it's one of the small areas where I might slightly disagree with what Jeff Johns did with the Shazam family and the way that they're depicting it. And I'm glad that Mark is presenting it the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
I just know everything Mark is writing. Even his time in Marvel, I always give it up to him for his Sue Storm Invisible Girl miniseries. And it's like, there should really be a Sue Storm solo book because she's amazing. And also A-Team, what were they called? During Secret Wars when they had the all-woman Avenger team, A-List or A-Team or
I know exactly what you're talking about. It was the
A-Force.
Yeah,
maybe A-Force.
Yeah, no, it was no, I think it was A-Force because Marguerite Bennett was the writer for that. Right.
Oh, actually Kelly Thompson too. And and again, where I don't take notes, Jar Jar, I was talking to Kelly and I'm like,
my mind right now.
Well, I'm just like, A-Force, that was a great book. And I'm like, because G. Willow Wilson started it. And Kel's like, yeah, she only did the first issue. I did a lot of them after that. I'm like, oh my God, Jesus, that's amazing. I'm sorry, Kel, I forgot you wrote that series. But and again, regarding coming back to Kingdom Come, I'm cool with it in Mark Waid's hands because he's the guy who wrote it. I mean, and really, to Mark's credit, he always says Alex really had the bones of the Kingdom Come original story, and that he just fleshed it out. And I'm so glad those guys are on good terms again, because there was a period of friction between them as well. But I can attest hanging out with them at signings and even going to dinner with them together that everything is fine. They're great. And two of my favorite people in comics.
Alex has always been on my list to meet. I was supposed to meet him at Comic-Con because they had like an exclusive signing, and I had prepaid because that was around the time his career book had dropped, like the work of Alex Ross, and I had pre-ordered a copy that signed. You could bring one thing, and I had his beautiful Starman poster that he did, all the covers for Starman. It was actually my first anniversary present for my partner that I have framed, because I have it signed by James and Tony, and I was like, I really wanted to get the signed by Alex, so then it'll never leave my where I live as long as I live. So only on moving day. And it's just that it got botched because Alex wants to make every fan feel awesome. So he would take the time to talk and do little sketches and stuff. Like, oh, we ran out of time. So, and I'm like,
sorry, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, oh man, like
that's our goal. Then I'm gonna talk to Mitch when he's asking what creators we need for Terrificon. I'm gonna be like, get Alex Ross.
It's tough because God bless him. I think he doesn't. I mean, he loves his fans and he loves meeting his fans. He really is sick of conventions.
Yeah,
and, it's really tough to get him out. And I know when he was in New York, he did Seth Meyers. He did Late Night with Seth Meyers too, and they had all these things. And truly, I think unfortunately, it was just too much for him. Some creators. God, I always say, being in radio and stuff, and depending on what cities you guys are in, the Chicago Auto Show was always in radio. This like all the regular 5-day-a-week broadcasters nobody wanted to do it because it was such a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. And I always say about conventions, when it gets like the auto show, it's time to stop going to conventions. Thankfully, it has not gotten to that point for me. I am in love with every convention I go to. I'm a kid in the candy store and just smiling for 3 days. My face hurts from constantly smiling and stuff, and the good time that I always have. So yeah, I know that Mitch would love to have Alex at the show, but that's a tall order. That's a tall order.
And John, I agree with you. I have to actually credit Splash Pages because for a while I was kind of starting to feel that burned out, because again, especially now with how expensive it is to get your autographs, like, buddy, like, what is the end goal?
It's not like it used to be.
Signed. And now when we're at a con, I'm like, okay, we're going to get all the interviews. We're going to get all the publicity. Leo is going to forget how to sleep. He is just going to be editing interviews, glued to his seat, IV for food. Let's go. And by God, poor Carrie has the poor Carrie and Jar. They just have to deal with me doing the thing. Like, no, Jar.
I loved it.
Yeah,
you were on fire, man.
Jar equated to do is like, it was like watching somebody pitch a no hitter. It's like, why am I going to interrupt this? Like,
it really, like, when you're seeing somebody in their zone, you don't step in the way. You go, hold on, man, let this flow. If it burns out, then we'll jump in, but otherwise, let it go.
I'm with you, man.
That's why Carrie kept running back to get water. It was like, he's got to stay hydrated. He just keeps. He's on his 6th straight interview, and Leo just said, "Oh, cool. All right, nice, good stuff. All right, we'll go to the next panel now." But okay, great.
That's awesome. No, I hear you, man. It's great. It's a good feeling, and
have you done San Diego?
Yeah, I haven't for the last 2018 is the last time I think I went. And I'll get back. I'm fortunate, and God, I hope this doesn't come off like, well, aren't I special? But I've gone to enough conventions, and also doing this for 18 years. Mm-hmm. I don't need to do San Diego as often as I have. And frankly, I was doing it when I had a full-time job and could afford San Diego because you're dropping a couple grand.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I always call it really expensive summer camp. Because like, hey, it's all my out-of-town friends, and we're all together, and isn't this awesome? And it's just like, yeah, here's more money, here's more money. And I'm eating at Subway, I'm eating at the cheapest places I can, or taking advantage of the free buffets or whatever. God, there's a great bodega that's just a couple. It's over the tracks from the convention center, and I want to. It's something like Cinema or whatever is the name of the bodega, and they make fresh sandwiches every day, and they're reasonably priced. And my buddies Art Baltazar and Franco, the Tiny Titans guys,
yeah, we love.
they're set up in small press and everything. And I would just go on lunch runs and run over there and get them sandwiches, because they were these gigantic deli sandwiches that absolutely would fill you up, but weren't going to break the bank. So yeah. It's no, I love San Diego, and I wish I had the income to afford it more often and stuff. But it's great, and I went consistently from like 2006 to 2018, not missing that many years in between. And well, you gotta you network, you meet people, and there are certain creators that only do either New York or San Diego. And I'll even say, as much as I enjoy being inside, New York, ever since they merged it with the anime convention, it's like it was already plenty crowded when it was 2 shows. What are you doing, Reed? Why did you merge these shows? Because I don't know if you guys know the great silent sci-fi movie Metropolis, and you see the workers all kind of shuffle in, and there's no room to breathe. That's how it is when you're trying to get from Artist Alley to the panel rooms or whatever. And it's just this sea of people, and you can't. I remember I'm coming one way, and DiDio is coming the other way. Dan DiDio from DC, and he's got this like completely frustrated, angry look on his face. And I'm like, I feel you, Dan. And he's like, oh, hey, John. He goes, yeah, this sucks. And I'm like, yeah. And we keep going and stuff. No, it's and that's the great thing about San Diego, because it takes over the entire town. I always tell people that are going to travel during then, but they're like, oh, I can't get tickets. Is it still worth going to? I'm like, yes, because there's so much cool stuff happening outside the convention area that you're going to have a great time, and your kids are going to have a great time. So don't worry. It's wonderful. So yeah, I love San Diego. It's great. No, but yeah, thankfully, I think I've gone enough that hopefully I'll be back. Hopefully.
I've done New York. I got to do San Diego once myself just to check them out. Conventions of that size scare the crap out of me, though.
What scares you?
Cons of that size. After I went to New York Comic Con, I don't even know, maybe 2012, and my God, even back then it was, as you're saying, you're shuffling through
it got worse.
It did get worse, unfortunately. Yeah. In San Diego, it's better, and you can breathe a bit more. And it's wonderful though, because what I love about San Diego in particular, there are people there for anime, there are people there for manga, there are people there for all these other things, and we're all in the same place having completely different convention experiences. But I always yell at my fellow podcasters who are like, well, San Diego isn't about comics anymore. Bullshit. Mm-hmm. I always pull out the dictionary or phone book sized program for the 5 days. And it's like every day there is at least a dozen, if not more, specifically comic book panels. I'm like, you're just not. I'm like, if your coverage of San Diego is only what you get from the big news outlets, they're going to focus on Hall H. They're going to focus on the TV and movie stuff. But the actual attendees, it's what you make of it, and you will have an incredibly great comic book experience.
Agreed. Drew gets us tons of news from San Diego, New York, all those.
Yeah. Totally. That's a tall order. But I think, like I said, it's just in the end, it's all about just reading a good story. And so just reading Kingdom Come, the last issue.
Oh, way to bring it back around.
Yeah, well, because Jar, we're almost at 2 hours and we got to wrap this.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sure I'm making it too long. I apologize.
Oh no,
we normally run this long.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So
I'm glad you're bringing it back, though. Yeah, please, Drew.
That ending, to me, I was like, wow, this is the best way to end the story, and it's still like just the way it was ended. I was like, wow, what a Superman way to go. And I like. Thinking about it, I was like, wow. And then, of course, Leo, as it said. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Comic Bench. Absolutely. I'm glad everybody here is getting a new subscriber. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we will. We definitely won't let you down until 2 episodes in. Okay.
I gotta look up your Dick Tracy episode. I love Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
But
that was a great episode.
But
Yeah, we mixed
no,
it
you're
up.
right, man. Those final Alex Ross images of 5 years later, 10 years later, 50 years later, 100 years later, 1,000 years later, and as we know from 1 Million DC, Superman lives on, and yeah, that's just like I loved in the original Kingdom Come. It wasn't in the 4 issues, but when you get the graphic novel, you get that after scene of them at Planet Krypton, like Planet Hollywood. And
Yeah,
they're all having dinner. And I always give it up to Mark because I love when they're just kind of kibitzing and just talking. It's Diana, Bruce, and Clark.
Mhm.
And Clark goes, "Hey, how's Luther doing?" And he goes, "I caught him trying to sneak into the Batcave and hack into the computer." And he goes, "He says hello." And Clark's like, "Really?" And Bruce's like, "No."
Oh.
And it's like, again, it's like, because Clark wants to believe that there's good in everybody, and maybe there's a chance, Luther and I can be friends again. Bruce is like, "No, dumbass. Here's reality. He hates you, and he will always hate you." And that's Clark and Bruce. That's the difference. Absolutely.
It's so funny you bring that up because 2 of my friends, my friend and her husband, they used Kingdom Come. They cosplayed as Diana and Clark from that to announce their pregnancy.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I guys, I will send you the image. It is the coolest. I said, that is one of the best pregnancy announcements I've ever seen. She was, and they were dressed as it, and I was like, wow. And it's funny because my friend, she was always like, I was trying to get my husband to cosplay. And I'm like, perfect. You're good. Don't do anything else. Nothing can top this.
And that panel in Thy Kingdom Come, where the 3 of them are playing with the children.
Mm-hmm.
And the one kid's floating in the air, and Diana's basically saying "get down" or whatever, and Bruce is holding a baby, and Superman has 2 kids climbing on him and stuff. It's like there's the heart, man. There's the heart part of Kingdom Come. Yeah, these Jeff, Alex, Dale, Jerry Ordway, these guys get it.
Absolutely, and it's just, again, what they get to. It's just about a great collaboration. You have some great story, great art. Everybody plays the part. Everything is just great, and it's just it's such a great story. And then on top of it, again, it's been so long since I've read this. The Commandi, the Earth.
Oh, Last Boy on Earth, absolutely.
With the way the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow, what a great homage, and it's one image.
Do we know who is buried? Whose funeral it is there after the kid panel?
I think that's Batman.
Oh, okay, and that would make sense.
That
and
makes
it's
sense. Yeah.
20 years later. Sure, that's likely. Yeah, and no, you're right. And I didn't even make the Commandi connection with that 200 years later panel. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then like one other thing that I loved, Superman meeting Norm McCrae, but it's not his. It's our world. It's the same guy. And he was just like, I was like, okay. And he's just like, yeah, I know who you are. You see me as like he's seeking solace in this person who plays, as we know, Norm McCrae is us. He's the everyman.
He's the point of view. Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like, dude, like,
and also that, you likely know that Norman is based on Alex's father.
Yes.
Which is cool. And Alex's dad was a Chicago minister and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's pretty amazing. No, again, this is such a wonderful coda, just like that extra scene is in the original Kingdom Come graphic novel and everything. It's it fleshes out the story more, and if you're a massive Kingdom Come fan, it's 3 volumes. And obviously, if you don't want the hard copies, you can get them on Kindle, and they're not that pricey on Kindle.
No.
But it's a
complain about the length either. Like I was able to take it all down in 3 or 4 days. So a normal reader who can take down like 12 comics in a sitting should have no problem at all with this.
Do you guys subscribe to DC Universe and Marvel Unlimited?
I used to DC Universe. I once it dropped and became when it was before the Max happened and all that stuff. Yeah. I was part of it. It was great, but just wasn't what I wanted it to be when it first came out. I thought we were going to get all the cartoons, all the media and stuff on there, and then they were like, "Well, no, we're going to take all the media." Yeah,
I hear you. But Marvel Unlimited, I've really found myself going back and reading things that I hadn't read when they first came out. And I had Jurgens on earlier this year, and one of his Thor runs I missed the first time, and it was like 12 years ago or something like that, maybe even a little bit more. And it was such a pleasure reading it now. And there's an area, pardon me as I'm burping. There's an area where I'm when I do have a guest on, it's like Jerry Duggan. I haven't talked to Jerry forever, and I can think of at least 5 or 6 runs since my last conversation with him that when we do schedule something, I'm gonna have to get him back and go, okay, let's talk about some of these. And he's another great writer. It's been so much fun seeing all these men and women that are coming to comics now and really have something new to say and interesting to say. And it reinvigorates my love of the DC universe and the Marvel universe, because I still love a good superhero story, but I am thrilled that other genres are being properly exploited. And the other publishers get that. No, something, let's do horror comics. Let's do crime comics. Let's do romance comics. And it's great.
Well, in the end, John, it's really about the legacy. And, they're picking up what, all these older creators who, again, everybody, do not sleep on meeting somebody, because if I've learned anything, you do not know what tomorrow is going to hold. So if you get a chance to meet somebody, take it, because I will never forgive myself for passing up a chance to meet Darwin Cook. So,
oh man, and he was such a mensch. Man, I love Darwin. And got to know Darwin. He was never on Word Balloon, but we'll get to it. And another guy like that I only met once or twice, but the great Joe Kubert. And my God, what a legend. And thankfully, Jimmy Palmiotti did me a solid, and he's like, "Oh no, Joe, you want to talk to this guy?" And we were all set to do it, and he passed away, unfortunately. But I'm just, like you said, I'm so glad I got to meet him. And Darwin, Darwin was just such a brilliant artist and such a lovely man. You know who I think, Drew, is his spiritual successor is Ilsa Chartier.
Yes, I agree with that.
Don't you think there's a very Darwin Cook style to his stuff?
Absolutely. It's got a cartoony detail. Absolutely.
And she is self-taught and this brilliant woman. Yep. And I am so I'm in absolute awe of these two people that are, many years my junior, but it's Ilsa Chartier and Katie Cook. Yeah. And I love Katie. Katie is another one that I, consider a little sister and stuff. And the poor thing, my God, I don't know the specifics of her health scare, but she's on the mend. And I'm glad to hear that and everything. But these are two of the smartest people in comics that I know that really understand, connect well with their audience, are able to sell their art at various price points. I mean, you go to Katie's table and there are dollar bookmarks that you could buy with her art on it to original art and painted commissions. And Ilsa is kind of cut from the same cloth as well. But very different styles, but both brilliant comic book creators.
Yeah, you must have a pretty crazy collection, John. Like, with original art and everything. I can only imagine.
I've been lucky. I've blurred my background because I don't want you all to see what kind of slob I am. But I do have a lot of original art. A lot of the creators have been very kind and either gifted me pieces, but also like Doug Monkey. And I think Doug does it for everybody. But I have this amazing Superman that he drew. And I'm like, okay, how much? And he's like, $20. I'm like, $20?
Oh, my
God. It's
God.
going to be at least a couple $100. Yeah, man. But that's Doug. That's the mensch that Doug is. And also, I did get a lot of my original art before the prices got nuts.
Yeah.
Because like I'm looking right now on my wall, I've got a Gene Colan blade that he drew entirely in pencil, and it was under $100. And today it would easily be,
Oh yeah.
several hundred, if not $1,000. Or I have a Tony DeZuniga Jonah Hex that I got at WonderCon in 2009. And
Sweet.
are we going on tour, Drew?
So just keep talking, John.
No problem, buddy. It's all good, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking at my wall right now, and I've got a Tone Rodriguez Snake Plissken. I have a David Mack silkscreen that he did of Daredevil. I have a Bill Reinhold. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's a classic Nick Fury. It's not Samuel L., but it's great templed Nick Fury.
Oh,
and
man.
He asked me because he did an Earth X. He inked a lot of Dougie Brathwaite stuff in Marvel in the early 2000s, and I know he solo did a Nick Fury Earth X one shot. And I said, draw Nick Fury for me, and he goes, do you want young Nick Fury in the action suit, or do you want old man Fury? I'm like, I want old man Fury in the action suit.
Hell yeah.
To show that he can still do it if he needs to. And it's this it looks very Matrixy. He's got two guns in his hands and he's shooting. And he goes, I threw a trench coat on him. I hope that's okay. I'm like, it's fine. And it's truly one of my prized possessions. So, and I have my buddy Tom Gianni, Gary Gianni's brother, a beautiful shadow that is a classic 40s looking shadow and stuff. But oh my God, Alex Saviuk, Gabe Hardman, Chris Somney. I'm looking at my walls right now. Norm Brayfogle. I have a Batman that he accidentally smudged a bat because he was using he had a wet index finger and he accidentally smudged one of the bats. And because I came to him, I'm like, I've never seen you draw Superman. He goes, well, I haven't professionally, but I've done commissions. And I'm like, give me Superman reacting to kryptonite. So that I have that on my wall, but I also have this great Batman. And he's like, I kind of fucked up this one little bat. He goes, I'll give it to you for $40. I'm like, sold. So that was fantastic. So yeah, the great Norm Brayfogle, whose art was so beautiful.
Oh, I miss those kind of prices, John. Like I have a watercolor done by Neil Adams that he gave to my son.
Oh my God.
Gave it.
That's amazing.
I was sitting there going like, dude, what are you doing? I don't have the money for that. He's like, it's for the kid. I was like, holy shit.
Was it like 5x7? How big was it?
Yeah, it's a little 5x7. Hold on, I can see if I can.
3x5? Because yeah, man. Like you do sketch cards and it's like
I got this whole little autograph book from Disney World. Here it is, if I can get the light to hit it just right.
Wow. Oh my God, that's amazing. Jesus, that's fantastic.
He just popped it out of nowhere. And did it in like I don't know, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm sitting there, I'm like, he's coloring it too. What are you doing? Stop.
I have they were kind of mass produced, and I asked him about it. One San Diego, he had a bunch of Lightbox head sketches, and he had Superman and he had Batman. A couple different poses on Superman, pretty much the same pose on Batman. And I'm like, Neil, forgive me. Because again, you had to, as you know, Jar Jar, you had to kind of kid glove Neil and not insult him or offend him or
Very
whatever.
Much so.
And I'm like, Neil, forgive me. I don't mean to. I go, these are amazing. But did you Lightbox these? He said, I did. So obviously they were based on some sketch that he sketched over. But he said, I swear to you, every line on this is me. And it was only like $100 or $150, something like that. Wow. And my good friend Wayne Mousseau, who's a hardcore art collector and high-end art collector because he can afford it. And I'm like, Wayne, it's $150 for these Neil Adams. I go, is it worth it? And he goes, yes, get it. And my big regret, Drew, was I met Jerry Robinson at a San Diego, and it was his last. And he was selling sketches for $100, and I just didn't have the money.
Why?
I couldn't do it. And I'm like,
yeah.
And Jerry Robinson, the man who created the Joker, the man who, was the first Robin artist and stuff. I mean, so important to the Batman mythos. And he was this lovely man. He was amazing. But I'm like, I could have had a Jerry Robinson if I just had a little bit more money.
Yeah, I get it. Well, John, we're coming up on our time. So thank you so much for coming. We really do appreciate it. And before we do, what's the best way for people to find you, interact with you, we have your social media links and everything on, but we like to hear it from the source. So
no, I appreciate it, man. No, thanks, guys. And again, really great conversation. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Wordballoon.com. I post all my videos and all my audio there. I use Spreaker as my podcast audio platform. And of course, I have my Word Balloon YouTube channel as well. But I'm on Blue Sky. I'm still on X. Fuck you, Elon. And thank you for ruining what was my favorite social media platform. And I'm like, I was here before him. Fuck him. I'm staying until he makes us pay for it. So, thanks, man. Thank you very much, Captain's Log. That's very lovely. I appreciate that. Yeah. So those are the social media places to find me: Blue Sky, Facebook, under my name, John Siuntres, and also the Word Balloon Podcast. I'm on Instagram. I should post there more, but I occasionally will find an image and a reason to post something. I always say nobody needs to see me in a leotard holding an energy drink. So why would I be on Instagram? And I kind of feel that way about TikTok too. It's like, no, that's for the kids. I'm like, nobody needs, although I don't know if you guys do micro content.
Yeah.
Where you'll do, I got to do that. And again, I'm a one-man band, but still it's like, that's the way to lead people to your show and get more people and stuff. So yeah, I got to get better at that.
We just recently started doing it probably a few months ago, and it really has been, Leo is bringing in new subscribers every day because of it. So fantastic. I would definitely.
Yeah. And the great thing is,
thanks, Captain's Log. I'd be happy. Thank you. She says they want, they want me on TikTok. All right. I'll talk to the Chinese and maybe I'll make it happen.
just tell stories on TikTok and just be, you'll be the historian, Yeah.
Well, I mean, the great thing is, with, the type of shows that you do, John, like we do, it's easy. Well, not easy. It's still a lot of work, but, taking a long show and then chopping it into a bunch of, smaller segments and then, shorts as well. It's
right.
Yeah.
Right. No, and you're right. And really don't focus on me, focus on my guest. Yep. And hey, this is what's happening in Batman right now. And throw up a comic image. And then, as I'm sure you do, Leo, hey, if you want to hear the rest of the interview, here's the link,
Oh.
So yeah, I talk a good game. I just got to do it. That's all.
No, I hear you. Yeah, we need to do it more as well. I'll get on that, Drew. I will.
You are one man and you need 8 hours at least of sleep. Stop it.
8 hours is a myth. I'm telling you.
Cool.
Unless you're Carrie racking in 18 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Half of a fucking day.
Good for you, Carrie.
We'll wrap it up. John, stay with us until we close out. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. Definitely, check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. I got a ton of links for John right there. Go check out his blog, go check out his YouTube, his podcast, subscribe to everything.
Everything.
Yeah. And for me, just Google me. You'll find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but I run the Dorkening Podcast Network. Head on over to thedorkening.com and you can learn more there. And, we do a bunch of different shows during the week, but make sure you check out our Splash Pages YouTube page as we're putting content, new content up all the time. And we'll kick it over to Jar Jar.
Hey, come check me out over on Facebook, Jeremy Courtney, and come check out Comic Book Lovers Buy, Sell, Trade, and Auction House on Facebook as well, where you can buy, sell it, and trade with 24,000 other friends of yours. That's about it.
Awesome. Carrie.
Hey, yes, I am a special person. I think I'm the only person who uses their Fitbit to track how much sleep they get instead of how many steps they get in, and I get many more minutes than I do steps. So, but it always says like, "Good job, you did it. You slept for 14 hours."
You're an animal.
Yeah. So when I'm not in bed, you can find me either here on Splash Pages on the Dorkening, sometimes other things on the Dorkening, and you can find me on the Owlite Network where we talk storytelling and all different kinds of storytelling. And we have some news coming up from that too. But just look up Carrie Sanders on Facebook. All my links are there. And you can just click on them. You can find my stuff. You can read my books. You can do whatever. And most likely Jenny will actually respond unless you go directly to my name, because I don't social media well. She does it all for me. That's me. Over to the Drew.
Oh, sorry. We had a great time tonight. A lot of fun, a lot of good laughs. It was a wonderful time. By God, shut up, Liam. Yes, you can find me on Facebook. I'm pretty existent there. I'm also on the Instagram. I do things. I'm places. I'm really tired. But it's always here. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say because we just had 2 hours of great fun. And I just spent the entire time admiring John's hair because when he understands and agrees with you, it bobs with him. And I was just like, oh God, that's hair. But seriously though, thank you for staying with us. We know that there probably was something else you should have been doing, but we're glad you chose to be with us. But we are not responsible for anything beyond that.
With that, we'll catch you later.
Well, before we do, everybody, before you do, everybody, side note, next week we have the great art extraordinaire Tony Harris is coming on the show. Super pumped. We're going to be going over the first story arc of Starman that he did with James Robinson in the 90s and the first story arc of Ex Machina that he did with Brian K. Vaughan in the early 2000s. Two great series that I'm sure you're going to love. We're going to love talking about it. Do your research now. Have your questions ready, and you could get cursed out by Tony. No promises.
Yeah. That's the likelihood. Yes.
But thank you so much for staying with us, everybody. Please subscribe if you're new. Stay subscribed if you aren't. We love you. Go the fuck to sleep. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.